Good evening. I'm Greg Floyd.
And I'm Dory Marlin. The clean out at North Adams Regional Hospital already underway tonight. Employees learning earlier today that the hospital will be closing up on Friday because it just can't pay its bills.
And that means more than 500 people will be out of work on Friday. Thousands more will need to go somewhere else for their health care needs.
Brandon Lewis live outside the hospital tonight in North Adams. And Brandon, what are the employees there telling you about this?
Well, certainly a wide range of emotions, Dory and Greg, when they learned that the hospital behind me will close its doors in less than 3 days. This is news that came on very suddenly for them. Many of them telling me tonight they are still trying to figure out how to process it all. Hours after employees were gathered together and told they'd be out of a job by Friday, many wasted no time in carrying out boxes.
People are going to get hurt from this because it's a long drive to BMC. This is where they come. I work in the emergency room. I know.
Debbie Poplaski has worked in the North Adams Regional Hospital for 25 years, and although she and more than 500 others will be laid off, she's more concerned for the thousands of patients they see every year.
As a caregiver for my mother who has acute lymphoblastic leukemia, not having a hospital nearby if something happens is scary. And I can't imagine if something were to happen and I have to drive her a half an hour.
The hospital has seen its share of struggles over the last few years, but after recovering from bankruptcy, employees saying they always thought a nearby hospital would step in.
We were never given the travesty of what is going on now, the severity of what is going on now. It caught us all totally off guard. You could hear the going on in the whole auditorium.
The hospital says it's faced significant debt for several years and exhausted every option to stay open. City leaders are hopeful a last-minute effort from the governor and state senate can keep the doors open in some capacity, adding the hospital is one of North Adams' largest employers with a payroll of nearly $1 million.
You take that and use that multiplier every time they, cash a check and, pay the mortgage and then, order a pizza, eat out, go bowling, go to the movies, whatever. There's that multiplier effect. It's I'm sure in the hundreds of millions of dollars, something that will be very difficult for us to recover from.
Now, the hospital says in an emailed statement that they are working with the area hospitals in Pittsfield and southwestern Vermont to be able to accommodate these patients. One thing that is being asked here tonight is it even legal for them to close the doors with less than 3 days? The Nurses Association, the union that represents the nurses here at the hospital, says it's not. They say that typically under state and federal law, they're required to give between 60 and 90 days notice and hold public hearings about this, and that didn't happen in this case. Now, there are some circumstances where a waiver would be granted. Tonight, we reached out to the Department of Public Health to ask if that waiver had been granted. They did not respond to our phone call this evening. We also asked that to the hospital, and they also did not respond to our emailed questions tonight. We are, of course, going to stay on top of this, but for now, reporting live in North Adams, Brandon Lewis, CBS 6 News.